Hello, 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 my lovely Moira mains. I've got some bad news for you. All of the Moira experimental changes are not coming to the live servers, and we've got a absolutely awesome explanation as to why that is the case. Also, before we get into this video, or into the Moira bit of the video, because that's all anyone cares about, let's talk about Genji. So Genji, his recent buffs, this is what Blizzard say. There is a massive post on the forums. I'll link to it in a video description below, but it's pointless looking at it because I'm going to talk about it in this video. So yeah, Genji, this is what Blizzard say. I won't put this on the screen because I mean whatever, but I'll show you the critical Moira info in a jiffy. All right, so Genji's recent buffs have increased his hero pick rate considerably. We're excited to see the hero getting more playtime, but some of the changes pushed his power level a bit too far. The tested changes to Shuriken are aimed at rebalancing of his burst potential. We believe these changes are the right direction for Genji, and we will be patching these changes into the live game modes soon. So there you go. Genji nerfs are going to live. Now, in case you don't know what the Genji nerfs are, basically, they're just reducing the damage of Genji Shurikens, and that's kind of it, right? Is this going to affect Genji too much? Well, I don't know. Genji's still going to be kind of okay, but he is going to lose that absolutely ridiculous burst damage he's got, but he's still going to have fairly decent burst damage because remember, Genji's still got his tighter shuriken spread on his alternate fire, although they did slightly increase the recovery time, so you can't spam alternate fire as often as you could before, and obviously they do a little bit less damage per shuriken. So it's a nerf for Genji all around, and probably a nerf that was needed. Okay, let's get stuck into Moira. Oh lord. So everybody pretty much lost their mind when these changes were announced. Everybody was making loads of content. Everyone's talking about this. What are you doing to Moira, Blizzard? Now, yes, they were pretty mental changes that they made. However, I was sort of playing on the fact that actually, if you read between the lines, I think what Blizzard are trying to do is make a couple of fundamental changes to Moira to make her a more skillful hero. Now, what I mean by that is not, oh yeah, Moira is a trash, easy hero to play. What I mean is Moira was very easy to get a lot of value. Just sort of sat in the team, spraying healing around and whatever, right? But giving her skillful moments so you can be like, oh my god, that Moira play was sick. I just got that orb over there and it was awesome. I got that clutch fade off and I saved the team. It was awesome. That's what I was hoping Blizzard were trying to do, right? Or at least that was the sort of underpinning design sort of direction these changes were going in. And Blizzard have confirmed that. So actually, I'm feeling pretty good here, thinking, okay, this is awesome. Blizzard are trying to make great changes. Of course, the execution, it wasn't the best. We'll get onto that. All right, let's see what Blizzard have said. Okay, so this is what they threw up on the forums. They said the team have been iterating on Moira's kit over the past couple of months, and this is the second experimental mode focused on these potential changes. We have a few main goals for Moira's gameplay. Number 1, we want Moira to be fun to play. Number 2, we want Moira to have the opportunity to make big game impacting plays. Number 3, we want Moira's gameplay to feel more skillful and dynamic. I read that and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Give it me, Blizzard, right? That's what I want to see. However, we know that what they did was kind of a bit crazy. The team AoE fade, even though it only lasted for a second, gave Moira the ability to like counter a lot of stuff. Her orb doing incredible burst damage when it's fired at people and it just deletes them from existence. If it hits them, of course, it did 150 DPS, which is just crazy. Yeah, so let's just move on to the rest of the changes. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm not going to put this on the screen because it's just going to be a wall of text and ain't nobody about that wall of text live. We're going to just read it off and then we're going to talk about what Blizzard is trying to say here because it gives us another sort of insight into what they're doing with Moira or what they're trying to achieve. So this is what they say. The current experiment is a glimpse into just one of the various iterations the team have been exploring to achieve these goals. For this test, it was important for the team to get feedback on the fade ability test specifically. We wanted it to get used to and feel powerful. Sometimes, during earlier phases of development, it's more helpful to test abilities at their extremes and fine-tune with balancing after. It's likely that if we wanted to pursue the fade ability change further, we would adjust the ability's cooldown or its interaction with other hero ultimate abilities. Now, we kind of got a bit of info. Remember Jeff when he spoke to me the other day, well, a couple of days, whenever it was, when I last made the last Moira video, so many Moira videos, and Jeff basically said, look, if we went live with this, we would change the cooldown, right? Because think about what you had. You had this every 6 seconds, you could just fade in and you would give your team, you're immune to damage, obviously, but you would also make your team immune to damage if you were near them, if they were within 6 meters radius of you for 1 second. Now, on paper, that doesn't sound too ridiculous. However, in the last video I made where I showed the Riptire examples off, you could see that I was getting a lot of value in just one game. Like, there was 3 or 4 moments where I made massive plays with Fade. And this is me just jumping onto the new Moira, playing her, like, you know, a couple of games into her changes. It's not like I've got hundreds of hours of Moira experience, and I could pull stuff off like that. So that, to me, was like, well, this is a little bit too strong. The fact that we can just, well, counter all of these things. And I'm like, you know, I'm not the best Moira player, and I'm able to do that. I start to get worried, right, ladies and gentlemen, which I think is fair enough. Anyway, the good news is that they would also just adjust the ultimate abilities as well, which is exactly what we'd need to see. Because think about, you know, Reinhardt's Shatter. If Reinhardt hits the team with Shatter, Moira fades, well, the stun of Shatter is now a second less effective because they are going to be immune because Moira is fading. You get what I'm saying? So it makes that ultimate weaker. Think about Sigma's ulti, makes that weaker. Think about Grav. All these ultimates, right? Moira was just incredibly good at dealing with those ultimates in her state. And of course, this gameplay you guys are seeing here is the experimental Moira. Anyway, they go on to say, that being said, we're not currently planning to move forward with the Moira changes being tested within the experimental mode. The team has already been working on a few other tests aimed towards the goals listed above. We have more we'd like to try with her damage orb and fade abilities. We'll be testing internally over the next few weeks and expect to have another experimental mode with Moira changes in the future. We have more experiments coming soon. Game development is an iterative process, and your feedback makes a difference. Thank you for your passion and being part of our awesome community. Cheers. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to get more Moira. There's going to be more Moira experimental modes coming in the next few weeks, and they are going to focus on Fade, and they're going to focus on the ball. Now, the damage orb, I thought was actually pretty good. And look at the damage it did to my team there. Like, it almost destroyed my McCree there, which is kind of disgusting. But it does a lot of damage. And because it moves so fast, it actually, when you go back to thinking, is this a skill shot? Is this just a random orb you're throwing around? It still kind of felt a little bit random, right? It still felt like, yeah, I'm just throwing it in, and through a whole whack of enemies, it's going to do tons of damage, and it might take somebody out, right? A weak target, if they take the brunt of the damage, and then there's a bit of follow-up damage, it takes them out. Anyway, I'm really excited to see what Blizzard are going to do with this, because I really like these changes. They were OP. Everyone agrees they were OP. Fade was ridiculous. The orb was a bit silly as well. So the fact that Blizzard are going to look at that and change it, I think is good news. So I guess the final question is, what do we think Blizzard are going to do to Moira's orb, and how do they fix Fade? Well, I kind of like the way Fade plays on the experimental card. It's just too powerful. So maybe they look at stuff like increasing its cooldown. Maybe they go through with the changes that they kind of alluded to in that post, saying like, hey, we would change the way it interacts with other ultimates. So maybe your Grav, your Sigma ults and stuff like that, and your Earth Shatter, and whatever other ult it might affect. Maybe they change its interaction with those. Maybe they increase its cooldown. And then, yeah, that's kind of the new Fade. But the orb is what interests me, because those changes to Fade probably wouldn't take that much time. Now, I'm not a game developer. I don't know what I'm talking about. But to change cooldown on it, it surely takes 10 seconds. You just change an entry in the thing. You'd be like, right, okay, so it is 6 seconds. Let's make it 10. Job done, right? Okay, changing its interactions with ultimates is probably a lot more complicated. But the orb is what interests me, because what the hell could Blizzard do with that? Maybe they could make it controllable. Could it be ridiculous if it was controllable? Like, you throw the thing and then you could control it? I don't know. You guys go crazy in the comments below. Let me know what you think Blizzard could do with this. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. And remember, you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa, if that kind of thing tickles your fancy, on Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff, Twitch and whatever. And yeah, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. And rip Anna. Oh dear. Oh dear me.